a good Saturday and a good weekend. It's becoming a common theme, but I slept through my alarm because that bitch did not go off. So we're getting started a bit late. We're going to do something interesting today. This is something I have been wanting to do for quite a while because I think it'll be really interesting for these grand campaigns. I have always wanted to have an element where I start to incorporate people, specifically really good role players, of which there are, as many of you know, a vast amount in the roleplay server, as well as in the future. I'd love to even have other content creators come in when I'm not, a tiny fish in a big sea. One day. But the idea is that every once in a while, we have those really interesting circumstances, interesting nations, interesting characters who are just really amazing for the story, whether they're friends or foes. And what I would like to do is bring people in for a session or two as a guest or just for fun to play out a character and just make things a little bit more engaging, which we're doing today. I think many of y'all know Chris. He's a great RPer, really nice guy. And the person I asked to be here today, which he agreed to, he is going to be playing as the Pirates of Free Cuba. So we're going to overview the roleplay really briefly, and then we're going to go ahead and get going. And it's multiplayer today. There's just the two of us in the game. I'm going to be running the game on speed 3, so we don't lag the hell out. Also, how's it going, everyone? Good to see you. What's up, Draco? What's up, Trucko Nero? What's up, Jay? Thank you for the sub. What's up, Haggy? What's up, Cheese? Hope everyone is doing very well. So the way in the roleplay this has gone, we had a long talk about this, is that during the recent wars, where we have just been struggling not only to fight off Castalla and the powers of Europe, but also... Hold on, let me turn music on. Realize I had that muted. There we go. That's better. But also our cataclysmic wars with the Hosokawa, of which we have actually managed to win. It has been long, it has been arduous, and it has taken 2 full wars. But at the end of things, the Hosokawa, for the most part, have been pushed out of Western Americas in the New World. It has been rough. So in the roleplay, what has happened is the chaos of this time, although it has been a period of stability, it has been so chaotic, so rough upon our country and our people, that administration of the colonies has been very tough. Now, if you remember, there was always something different about Liscandria, which is in Cuba. That was a crown colony established by the monarchy instead of a private enterprise. What that has meant in the roleplay is during the last years when the burghers and the chancellors, who are primarily statists, have dominated, is that the administration of Liscandria just kind of fell apart. Without much power, the monarchy, the colony was not given the resources, the others were. All of the money, wealth, and ships have gone to fighting the wars with the Hosokawa, and as a result, including the war with Liscandria, it's fallen into disrepair, it's fallen into chaos, and the burghers, of course, have begun to work with those pirates as a way of stealing the treasure fleets of our rival in Castalla, and of course the tobacco and sugar of French Florida. And as a result, during that last war of the Hosokawa, when we met with victory, we got news that in Cuba, our government there and our governor had lost all power effectively. Now, in the roleplay, on paper, legally, Liscandria is still there, and it's still a colony. But if you show up in an island full of pirates, holding up a piece of paper saying, legally, we own you, it's not going to go very well, is it? So despite on paper still being ours, in practice, it is entirely a pirate haven now. And it is, of course, ruled by the Captain Lucerna. Another pirate nation has appeared in New Providence, where Captain Kidd has spawned. And as a result, the Spanish, the French, and even us in Sardinia, all of our ships are being raided by pirates as the Golden Age appears. Slaves are coming to the New World to work in the tobacco fields of Florida as lands are taken from the natives. Gold treasure fleets are going back to Madrid, bringing the great wealth of the conquered territories in Mexico and northern Brazil. And in all of this, these pirates have gone strong, much to the help of the burghers, who have been funding their efforts in large parts. Our government has been minimally involved with it, though, so it's not of our own doing, primarily. But we are a nation, at this point, with such little options, which we will, of course, work with anyone we can. So today, as I said, there's someone role-playing as a captain, a pirate captain, and we are going to be dealing with the Age of Piracy. He will be here for 2 sessions. I'm going to use it to simulate the Age of Piracy, and we're going to keep it interesting. So, we'll see how this goes. Start at speed 2 so we get no issues real quick. Let me see if I can find a copyright-free pirate playlist. I didn't try and look that up earlier. One moment. Almost all pirate music is copyrighted, unfortunately. So we may not be able to play any. Oh, I know what I can play. Hold up. I've got to work around. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Alrighty. So, also as a reminder, we are currently in the midst of a civil war, which I'm going to have to get us to deal with here. It was a very large one, too. We had 50,000 men revolt in Sardinia. Primarily, this is due to the fact that we have been fighting wars in the West. The Army and the Navy have been gone for probably almost a decade at this point, and many have grown tired of the situation. A lack of stability. When Castalla declared there were no troops to defend the homeland, and many people are tired of these policies and the actions of our government. So we will have to deal with that right now. Currently, we do have Chancellor Solomon Bentivoglio, who is going to have to administer this revolt. Hopefully, it'll be fine. I did not prepare for this. And our army is sorely lacking in the old world. We'll get our army drilling in the New World as well. We have 2 colonies now, obviously, in South America. Well, 3 technically. We've got Terra de Castor in Brazil. We've got Campania de Alarca. We named that Campania de Arcala? No? I forget what we properly named that. And we got Peru, too. So we will need to, at this point, maintain a lot of troops both in the New World and the Old World, which really will split up our troop count and can be very dangerous for us. Thankfully, we do have an exorbitant amount of funds at this point. The other thing we also did before we end is we built a lot more heavy ships. We now will have, I believe, 40 to 50 galleons, meaning in a full-blown war, we can contend with most naval powers at this point. I'll show the screen really quickly. We actually have one of the largest heavy fleets on the planet right now. And that would be great, except the people who have more are the most important, specifically the British, who have had a bone to pick with us as they desire colonies in the New World, and we're the weakest to go after, and Castalla, who have an absolutely staggering 108 heavy ships. So what we have is a lot, but it is not enough. We'll dispatch that army to the west. Actually, do not need to bring that fleet. One moment. I wish there was a better naval screen for like moving around ships like Hoi 4. I know Hoi 4's naval screen can be a little bit confusing, but it is very useful once you get to know it. With the rediscovery of the classics, there's been a shift in the focus of personal collections, no longer restrained to dusty cellars and monasteries, ancient texts, as well as more modern writings on similar subjects are finding their way to manors and palaces across the country. Got the speed 3. I will not be able to read a lot of these events as easily as I normally can because we are in multiplayer, so I will not pause it, not be pausing it too often here. Just a warning. The Great Revolt. Yes, indeed. Yeah, this was a big one. Campagna di Arcadia. That's the one. Yes. Thank you, Trecarnier. Campagna di Arcadia works well enough, though. And we would have to say Arca to be short for Arcadia. Treasure fleets. We'll get that royal marriage. No, we won't. Never mind. With Ruthenia, which is basically early Ukraine. They're very strong. One thing I did not put on the Grand Campaign bingo card was allying Ukraine and having them be a major player in Eastern Europe by the time EU4 comes around. That I was not expecting. We dealt with one of the revolts. We'll need to bring the rest of the troops over to Sassari as the capital is being threatened by around 30,000 men at the moment. What mods am I using? What's up, Exile? I will get you a list real quick. Actually, I think if you do exclamation point mod, it will show up, I believe. Can you show the player? There's only one. They're on Cuba. That's it. What's up, Rush on the exploding apple? There you go. If that's not the EU4 one, I'll link it. Yeah, EU4 was a very popular game for strategy players probably 5 years ago. It's really old now. Our nobility is continuing to marry women from Vladimir, despite Vladimir being a minor power in Eastern Europe. The other thing is, I don't know if y'all noticed last time, the Ming are currently being invaded by the remnants of the Mongols. The Ming had grown very powerful and built up really a strong base in the east and had stabilized for a long, long period. They had reformed dramatically, but now they are being invaded by the Chagatai and the Mongols. Now, these are the successors. These guys are specifically the original Mongol Empire from CK3. They never died, and they are the direct descendants of OG Genghis Khan. And also, as a reminder, they're super technologically advanced, probably more so than us and the rest of Europe. They were the guys who got printing press. So, roleplay-wise, it's a very, very advanced Mongolia. All right, let's bring our troops over. It's a very big Chagatai. So I'm guessing Castalla is going to be the Great Britain of this timeline. It's looking like that. Well, really, they're almost like the Spain of this timeline. Because you got to remember, I think we often forget just how strong Spain was during their height. Britain only became the dominant power that we see them as now, much later. For a long time, it was just Spain in the New World, right? And even in Asia. It wasn't until their constant wars in Europe and poor governance and decentralization really kind of ruined them that they became that stagnant power we perceive them to be nowadays. That was not the status quo. Looks like we can't colonize much anymore. It's kind of crazy that in 1611 there's really nothing less to colonize. Everything's gone at this point. All of Africa, all of Asia, because the Ming, both Japans, and see, the Tamil and the Fatmids are all colonizers in this game, so there's nothing left. 30,000 men right outside the capital. Alrighty. General Liscandria Mika will foray the troops, and we're going to go ahead and fight them to the south of Sassari. This is a battle we cannot lose here. We are going to win it. A little too close for my liking, but we will win it. Good. All right. With the last of the troops dispelled from the Great Revolt, we're in a very good position to try and regain some of our power. Now, like I said, this is a very stable... We had this event last time. This is a very stable period for the first time in a long time. We actually have the allies that if they join, Castella will maybe have a chance of losing. It'd be even better if we actually had a good relationship with Byzantium. But I think a lot of these modifiers are bugged out at this point. We'll get these troops back to North Africa. And then we're going to start to look to administering our colonial empire, which has grown very large. Wars of expansion would be nice, but only if they're warranted. There's a few places left we can really do that. There's those last two nations in the Peruvian mountains where the Inca were destroyed. With the Hosokawa gone now, we can do that if we wish. But beyond that, we're only fighting the other great colonial powers at this point, which we're not incapable of, but will be very tough. And we do need to see about what we can do to get Cuba back under our control. What's this, Scova? Mongol printing press, so they're for sure printing sheet music of their throat singing. Probably. Sweden also didn't know how to deal with the native populations and just stole the resources. Didn't bother to make it a long-term plan. No. Whereas, like, for example... Ooh, age of absolutism. Here we go. Finally a new age. As governments wrest the absolute power in their countries from other parties, they are now able to devote themselves to the building of empires. This is the age of the state, of rulers, and their armies. Large capital, present on 2 continents. Treasure fleet. Mexico just entered a golden age. Oh boy. Ooh, is Cuba at war? They are. We're gonna offer to help them here. This is an envoy from His Majesty's government, chancellored by Solomon II. I'm here to treatise with, whatever authority calls itself in these lands.
Aye, be reaching us.
We see that you are under attack by the enemies of Sardinia. His Majesty wishes for me to treatise with you, though we do not recognize your claims on these lands. We do not wish to see them fall to Castalla and our enemies.
Aye, they be sending in troops by boat.
We can see that. The Sardinian Navy is prepared at this time for a major conflict. You are not directly involved in a war with Castalla, correct, legally?
Aye, it be their puppet in the West Indies.
We are not able to enforce peace diplomatically. We're trying to see what we can do here. Out of RP. I didn't guarantee you. I think I will have to declare on them. Which will put us into a war with Castalla. Which I cannot do. Because I can't rent you ships either. I think I can send you condottieri. Yeah, I can. His Majesty's government has an offer. We are willing to send 12,000 Sardinian soldiers to relieve you, as legally you are not at war with Castalla. You are obviously fighting a large contingent of Imperial Spanish troops. This is not an agreement for any acknowledgement of whatever authority is left here in Liscandria, but we do not wish to see you fall to the Indies. In exchange, we would wish to treatise with you about stability in the region, about the possibility of exclusively going after Castalla's treasure fleets, as many of your kind have hit our fleets recently in the region. It's got an event about more being sunk as well. This is getting out of hand.
Aye, we not be the only ones sinking ships in these borders. There is another, more rowdy set up to our north. They are docking in the Bahama Banks.
There's a difference between the lot of you?
Aye, we have had our disagreements.
His Majesty's government has known nothing of this. When your ships raise the black and take our treasure fleets, you all say the same to us, but perhaps then we can make this a mutual thing. You have enemies. Sardinia has enemies. Many of you are of our kind, I believe. Perhaps we can have a ceasefire for a time. Lord knows my government does need it.
Aye, this could be planned in.
Very well. It's like I'm trying to figure out why I can't move troops. Still do not have enough light ships. Out of RP, are you going to survive this?
I should do. I'm just
Okay, cool.
getting mercenaries.
Oh, I do see that. As I said, we have an agreement then. We can send 19,000 troops to your aid. It will take a time to get there, though.
Aye, we will welcome them. We'll hold off these sieges.
Very well. I hate the mechanics of EU4. If we get enough transport ships, we should be able to get our fleet there, I think. Oh, yeah, he's going to get stack wiped. Fuck. But yeah, there are 2 pirates. There's Captain Kidd in New Providence, and then there's Cuba. What's up, Curse? HRE is massive. It's mostly in the east. We'll look at it in a minute. And yes, this is a very rough game. We are not one of the great powers. Need to have opinion with Cuba, and then we can actually enforce this. So the way this is RP working is our government does not want to work with them. We don't like them at all. But the burghers were the ones who, although they didn't exactly create them, they heavily funded them. So the reason they have ships, they have troops, it's all due to the burghers right now. And as you know, we are very beholden to them. So this is almost not our own policy, but rather that of theirs. And if I can't directly join this war, I don't know if he'll survive this. I did not guarantee him at the start of the game. It'd be very inconvenient. Out of RP, I think you are going to have to accept an alliance so I can enter this.
Looks that way.
Yeah. Alrighty. So that I can enforce peace on them, I think. RP wise, we'll break it immediately after. You should be able to call me in. If not, I can enforce peace in a little bit. Alrighty. The Sardinian fleet will be in the Caribbean within several months, and our troops will land shortly after. Hold your forces. Out of RP, it is only the West Indies in here. That's interesting. They are strong. 15,000 cannons. Holy shit. If y'all remember, we lost our whole transport fleet at the end of last session because we sent those 6,000 men to Asia and they never came back, nor did the 26 light ships. So that's the main thing right now. Get them back shortly. And there's another revolt in Sardinia. Beautiful. Do I like this game? Yes, I do. I'm just not as good at it as I used to be. That's the main issue. It's not my favorite of the Paradox titles anymore. Primarily due because it's outdated and they built the game and the AI around the meta players who are the main base for their community, but it is still a very enjoyable game in an interesting time period. I hope they make 5, and I hope they make it much less mechanically meta-gamey. That's what I'd love to see. This is the only Paradox game I feel like I have to metagame in a little bit in order to survive, and I really don't like that. Alright, the Sardinian main has arrived off the coast of Cuba. We'll hunt their fleet in the Caribbean and wait for our troops to land. Yeah, we are really getting a lot of revolts at home right now. We have to send what we have. It's like Command and Conquer with Risk. It's really different. It's a grand strategy game, so it's not really comparable. I guess it's like if you put Civ maybe in Command and Conquer together, or Risk, that'd be a little bit more accurate. It makes sense to retake all of Cuba in this war and kick out the local Castalla garrison. Yeah, the West Indies is alone in this war, so the pirates will probably take a fair bit if they win, but their army is about to get completely wiped out here. Ooh, fuck. Alright, I have transport ships. We're going to land. We're going to siege out Tortuga in that area. And then we'll get the whole army over in the Caribbean. And we'll destroy their army. RP-wise, all those pirates would have just gone into the jungles of Cuba. Because at this point, that island is pure jungle. Chancellor Solomon is greedy. Is it not automatically transporting again? It's not. Anyone that does this is fucking bugging out. They made a whole DLC for naval stuff and it still is buggy. Because there's a light ship. Chris, I will be there in a minute. I am having trouble with naval mechanics right now.
We just be hiding in the jungle.
I figured as much. I tried that curse and that wasn't working. I think this happened last time. When I didn't have enough transport ships, it just would not let me embark troops, which I don't know if that's because of the mods or something else. Was that the button the whole time? Right, now it will work. We have enough for sure. There we go. All right. So the Chancellor has sent around 30,000 men. We're going to be landing on the primary region the West Indies administers, as they are not able to bring back their troops due to our fleet now being in the Caribbean. What's interesting about this war is that legally Castella is not in it. RP-wise, we'll just go with like we still have a treaty that does not allow them to enter the war at this time. Oh my god, they have a big fleet there in the port. We're going to station the Sardinian fleet off the coastline of Azua. When we take the garrison and the fort there, we will push the entire fleet out of port and be able to deal with them. After which we'll wait for our troops to get here, the rest of them, and we're going to land in Cuba. How much control do the pirates have in the trade node? Let me look. New Providence has a lot. Cuba will have a lot if they're not currently sieged out, because all their province don't get any trade power. They have no great fortresses here in the New World, only small port garrisons. We will take this very quickly. $35,000 men. I'm gonna need more transport ships. How many are we getting? +3. We're gonna have a little over 30. Okay. Once the garrison is sieged out, we're going to leave a couple of troops here. Out of RP, Chris, in this war, you can probably get Tortuga if you want to, which will really help you out.
Probably
Yeah, we'll do that. The carpet siege them at this point. And we have engaged their navy. We pushed it all out of port. Those are all just trade ships and then transports. And we captured quite a few of them too. See if we can knock the rest of them out here. Destroying the major fleet of one of Castala's vassals will be big if we ever do go to war with them. And as y'all know, we will absolutely be going to war with them shortly. I'm sure they will declare here. We might actually get a war with them in the middle of this, so be prepared for that. Portugal will become a pirate nation, so I wouldn't recommend taking it. The way I see this, though, RP-wise, is we're so desperate to get one over on Castalla, as well as the fact that burghers would be pushing for this war, is we're going to kind of just intervene. Like, RP-wise, I don't want this to be a full war. Basically, what we did is illegally sent troops and ships in order to protect Liscandria, because we would still see Cuba as a crown colony, even though it's not. And after deploying troops and dealing with the forces of the enemy and leaving, the pirates would essentially just take what they wanted, I think is how we're going to do this. So we're not going to sign any treaties or justify any of the actions they're going to take. We're just simply intervening in order to have them not directly be destroyed. The fleet went all the way to Peru. You would have the most leverage since your reason they got to leave. Through Havana, Guanay, and then Jamaica, probably Tortuga. Their mainland holdings are completely occupied. So if we get all of our troops together, we can land with 40,000. That should be enough. Machu Picchu. We actually have a lot of great projects now. We will develop those slowly when we actually get income. Our economy is really suffering right now because we're maintaining such a ridiculously large fleet over our size. All right, here we go. What the fuck is my navy doing? That one. Oh, okay, I understand now. It's because you have to put that attached thing on EU4. Nope, that's not working either. Here we go. They're gonna immediately come and hit us. We gotta land both. This is incredibly risky. Oh my gosh, we're not gonna win this. Alright, out of RP we have an issue, which is I can't land troops without getting destroyed here. I think I can push for a peace though. Or you can. If you want to take like one thing. Let me look.
Oop, it auto
Oh no. Damn it. You should still be fine. You can maintain your navy with all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. We'll go with that. That is really annoying. I have a transport fleet now, so if you do need help in the future, you'll be fine. You can also maintain, I think, an army too if you need it. With what you have?
Yeah, I'm gonna recruit now.
Okay, cool. Alright, that went really poorly. We lost a whole transport fleet at the end of last session, and I can play EU4, but I don't understand some of this shit, especially the naval stuff. I find it to be so buggy. I'm going to break my alliance with Cuba, but we are going to keep our guarantee on them. So if they do get declared on, we will join. I'm also going to go grab some more coffee, because I'm exhausted. I was up way too late. Let's get a few more transport ships. We actually cannot maintain the fleet size that we have, so can I build more buildings? Not really. Damn it. He can play New Providence. He can, but he also will survive with Cuba. I gave him plenty of buffs, so he'll be alright. Alright. Bear with me. I'll be back in just a moment. I'm going to chug some more coffee, and I should be good to go. Got that going. We do have a new idea group, by the way. What does anyone have for recommendations on our idea group? Just a reminder, so far we've taken naval, exploration, trade, and quality. We've got all of them. We have another idea group. So what do y'all think that we would go for? I'll put up a poll in a minute. Also, I'll be awake probably in 20 minutes. This is why I'm moving off these morning streams, by the way, guys. I'm only doing it the next 2 weeks so I can do this for Chris, because it's obviously I don't want to do it really late for him because he's in Europe. But I am moving to afternoon streams from here on out. I've tried to do these 10 a.m. streams for the Europeans, but man, I'm so out of it at this point. It's been that way for a long time. But yeah, what do we think? So generally speaking, I think what would make sense here. We've been so about survival for so long at this point, right? We're all military. We do a lot of trading. We have a very strong early industrial economy too. We really differ from the other Europeans in that sense. But more than anything else, I think we've been in recent years kind of defined by struggling entirely. But we've taken so many diplomatic and military ideas at this point. To balance it out, we probably should go admin, but it's tough to say. Maritime would make sense, yeah. I'd say probably economy would work really well too. I mean, we'd have to have very, very skilled economists in order to maintain a budget with the deficits we've run and things like that. Humanism, I'd say, would make sense given we're such a tolerant country, far more so than everyone else. Administrative would make sense too, given the current state of our government and the status kind of being in power. Defensive ideas would make sense because our army has kind of learned only through defense, if we're being honest. And then maybe espionage. That also I would throw out there as an option, but I'll let you guys decide. We've got economics, maritime, administrative. I'll give it a minute and I'll put up a poll. So RPY is what just happened, is that we essentially illegally broke a treaty and sent a fleet and troops to support the pirates in Cuba. This is primarily due to the fact that the burghers pressured our government, as always. They are so powerful. And if they really push for something, there's very little anyone in our government can do, especially given we have a statist who is well-advised and greedy. So he epitomizes the burghers who rule our country. So essentially we got pressured into breaking treaties and alliances in order to support them. We are raiding their fleets a little bit, Costello's treasure fleets. In order for Cuba to actually fight the West Indies again, I do believe they'll have to fight Costello, though. Because I know we can't fight them. What's up, Noose Pregay 3 intake? We've had major recent revolts, and we need to be able to keep our homeland and our colonies in check administratively. That's very true. Religious map mode, yes. Mostly Catholic in the New World. Shinto, obviously, due to the colonizing of Asia on the west coast. Mayan is still around. Inti. Orthodox from the Byzantines. Fetishist from the African colonizers. In Europe, Protestantism has a large swath in the east. That's about it. And then Sweden. Tengri is still alive. It won't be for much longer, but with the fall of Vladimir, the last of Tengri is almost gone, given the other Eastern powers are Catholic. The Mongols are Orthodox in Asia, and then the Chagatai are Sunni. And they're gonna... Oh my god, are we gonna get a Sunni China? This may end up being a Sunni China, because the Chagatai are conquering the Ming. Look at this. Oh my god. There's no way they're going to stop them, too. The Chagatai will establish another dynasty in China, and they're going to go Muslim. Fuck, I did not. I also did not have that on my Grand Campaign bingo card. Holy shit. Alright, can one of my mods please make the poll? Do I have any mods in chat right now? Could one of them make the poll for the idea groups that were put into chat? I don't know if there are any mods currently on. Yeah, the Chagatai are terrifying. They're the real successors to the Khans at this point, out of everyone else. I'll just keep this unmuted, just in case you want to do anything. They are ridiculous. Look at that. 400,000 troops. They are almost as strong as Kostala, all on land. Obviously, they don't have a single ship because they're landlocked. But if they conquer China and make another dynasty, they will have a fleet and they will be... Oh my god. Probably double their current size, I would say. We will embrace global trade. One of the things we need to get for absolutism as well. Increase crown ownership of land to at least 65%. We will never do that with the burghers. Have at least 2 levels of level 3 centers of trade. Doable. Significant stake in textiles, luxury market, or herbs. That will be rough, but it is doable. And getting significant trading with the great powers in Europe is going to be so hard. Is there not? Alright, I may need to give someone mod. It's been a long time. Alright, who is in chat right now? Trucko Nero. I will mod you if you would like, but it would take away your VIP icon, so it's up to you if you want to do that. Otherwise, I will find someone else to mod here. My policy on this is I always do it whenever I ask for a pull, and there's no mods to do it, so it's been a little while. So what's up, Limpari? How are you doing? I have no idea how to do mod stuff on Twitch. That is fair. Cursor Cheese, if either of you would like to be mods, you're welcome to be. You guys have been here a long time, and I trust you. If there is anyone who would like to be a mod who currently has been watching streams for a while who I know and I trust, feel free. Just let me know in chat. I will set up the poll, though. Alright, idea group. We have maritime. We have administrative. Yeah, that was innovative. Economics. And I'm going to go for humanist for the last one. Poll is up. If you would like to vote on our 5th idea group, go ahead. Pirates have struck some of our shipping. They tortured and brutally murdered the male passengers and did unspeakable ones to the female ones. So piracy is really getting out of hand. We're obviously not protected from it. Just because we sent ships to help the ones in Cuba doesn't mean the ones in New Providence are still not sinking all of our ships. They actually also really like us, though, ironically. We promised to the burgers we get trade power in Miwok. Where the fuck is that? Ah, in California. We can sit a small trade fleet there, I think. Because pirates control trade in California. All right, next things, we really need to get the economy back under control. I have so many ships that we cannot afford right now. Our use of privateering to strengthen our position on the oceans has not gone unnoticed by the unsavory individuals who raid our ships without the blessings of a king. While we prefer not to see any similarities between our legitimate authorizations of reprisals and these pests, some of them see quite a few. So we're employing more pirates again. So we'll go with the burghers are doing all this. They're paying off and helping the pirates in New Providence and in Cuba as well right now. We can't fight a direct war of any of our rivals, so the way we'll have to do it is simply with pirates then. The fleet back too. We do have 36 transport ships, so we can move whole armies if needed. Look at that naval cost. I'm going to get rid of some of these. We'll go up to 32 transport ships. The rest I'll delete. And then if I delete some of our galleys, we should be able to get a reasonable balance here. Do I trust you? Yeah, I do, Curse. You've been here for a while. My standards for this is just, you know, people have been here for a while and who have been always nice and not toxic and chill. So, what you've done. One of the Balearic Islands is still occupied. We do have a region in there too. We have no generals currently. Yorunda Boda. We'll send him to Ifni, and you said there was a Balearic Island. Minorca. Yeah, I see it, okay. Send the rest of our European troops to Minorca. They get a nice vacation, stamping out rebels on a Caribbean island. Better than the other recent jobs they've had. Election in the Federal Kingdom. Solomon II, our Chancellor, has died. We can choose a statist or a monarchist. It's very shifted to monarchy, isn't it? We'll go for a monarchist candidate. He's very weak, but that's fine. All right, we're at 94% to monarchy. Remember, if we get to 100%, I am going to reform our government to go back to a monarchy. We're very close to that. Selling the Balearic Islands to Costello for money since the ruler is greedy. Greedy doesn't mean we just give away core territories. It means we would go after things that are economically viable. He also just died, so... Economic. All right. We're a fifth idea group. We will go economic. The burger's influence continuing to just be ridiculous. I'm going to delete some of those galleys, too. Over limit, are we? We are over by a lot. I'm going to delete all the galleys. Then we need to get rid of 10 more. Ever since the 13th century, spectacles made from glass lenses have come to replace the reading stones of older eras. Through thorough optical observation, these lenses have now reached a level of perfection that has allowed even the smallest of things to be enlarged. To the delight of scholars, these new lenses can also be used to create both optical microscopes, allowing them to examine what could never be seen before, and the refracting telescope, allowing study of faraway objects such as the stars. The field of optics is now on the brink of revolution, bringing great benefits both to science, navigation, and warfare. When was Galileo alive? It was Galileo Galilei. He was alive 1564 to 1642, so he'd be alive right now. I thought. I believe we even get an event for when, like, he says that we go around the sun or something, and I think you get a stability drop. Which is accurate. All right, my coffee is ready. I'm gonna go grab that. Then I won't be a goddamn zombie. Be right back. All right, I'm back. I didn't hit the start button on the coffee. It'll be longer. Alrighty. We're very up to date on tech now due to the fact that we embrace global trade. We're going to go to line of battle. This obviously being the most important naval innovation in modern history, I would say. Line of battle is when they developed a tactic for ships with obviously lots of cannons to line up in straight lines and just like strafe each other, like going side by side. Because a side volley on a massive warship is absolutely disastrous. There were front cannons on ships, but there were usually not more than one or two. They were very small and they couldn't do much. So if you were directly facing the ship you were firing at, you were in a bad position. Even if you're going head to head, it's a bad position. Neither ship could really do more than just take pot shots at each other, right? In this time period, when big ships happened and there were just tons of cannons, I mean, you have ships with hundreds of cannons, your optimal way of fighting was to try and get, obviously, to have a broadside, of course. So it was all about maneuvering in order to get as many cannons as possible to face the enemy ship, which the line of battle created. Ships would move in long lines, and they'd usually kind of just like sweep around, and they try and outmaneuver each other in order to get in a better firing position, and just have their ships go one by one and fire at them. This was a tactic used for the next almost 300 years. It was used all the way in probably until I'd say about 1840, 1850, when obviously innovations in ships with ironclad steam ships and ships made of metal and just much higher caliber guns on ships themselves, and then rotating turrets obviously on the top completely changed warfare. Then you get like World War I, World War II style naval battles where you don't have to get into those side firing positions because the gun turrets can obviously maneuver in order to fire in ways that you want. But for the next 300 years, it's going to be basically entirely line of battle, which we have now. Go for bureaucracy. Go for gallop cavalry and leather cannons. So our main fleets. We will mothball the main fleet as well. We're not Kasadi. And we should be making money now. Yes, we are. We're making a lot of money. Look at that. We're going to build up the economy. We're going to develop the rest of our provinces we can. We'll develop the colonial provinces too. And then we're going to... At that point, probably try and build more galleons. We can afford them. A larger of a fleet means we have a higher chance of actually fighting off Castalla. Our plan at this point militarily, which is what the High Admiralty would be advising our government, is if we can get enough galleons to maintain in the Mediterranean, we have the possibility of being able to cut them off. Now, if we can actually get a fleet in the Strait of Gibraltar, no, they have both sides, don't they? So, fuck, that doesn't work, which doesn't make any sense. But if we get a fleet there, we can do more to protect ourselves from being just completely destroyed immediately. It also means we can win in the colonies if we do have the advantage. The HRE map, yes. Ruthenia is in the HRE. That is fucking weird. Hesse is the Emperor. Bavaria is enormously powerful, and the Liscandria are all the three big powers in it. It's actually shrunk in size a lot. They had a lot of these Eastern European regions, but I think Ruthenia knocked a lot of that territory out. It's interesting. Hellas still exist? Oh my god, you're right, they do. They still have our dynasty, too. Oh my god. We could realistically get a Hellas Bulgaria. The Greek government escapes to Bulgaria and founds a country there. I didn't realize they were still alive. They still have our dynasty, too. Look at that. Torshitaru Megara. That's a combination of that Greek family we married into. And then Torshitaru was one of our cadet branches. I think they're the only ever dynasty that's ours, besides Castella, of course. There's still Torshitaru Guadiato. The original ones who... Because that was the one they formed the cadet branch of in CK3. There are two Ruthenias. Yes, there are. There's the one Ukraine formed, and there's the really weak one in the east, which is basically Kiev. We have a lot of money. I'm going to build a university in Sassari. This is the end of the Renaissance. We're enormously wealthy. And with our fair degree of tolerance, we probably have quite a few of those. Let them die? Yeah, we did abandon them. As part of the Burger diplomatic shift, we abandoned almost all our allies, including them. It was, again, Anatoly Khan who did found Byzantium, not Hellas. Andalusia did become them. Is there anywhere else we could still colonize? Let me look. I think the game gives you a list, right? Colonies, colonies, colonies. Nope. There's like a possible colony list. Nope. There's nothing left to colonize in the world. In 1621, that's crazy. The trait of our leader. He's a martial educator. Chancellor Simeon IV Ziani. Military educator. We're very militaristic then. It's a monarchist. The monarchists have almost taken back total power in our government right now. And he would realistically be looking to take that all the way. Oh my god. Ruthenia is at war with the Papal States? We could fight a war of the Papal States right now. We're no longer warned by Castile. We could call in Bohemia and Lotharingia. They would call in Norway, Tuscany, and Lower Bosnia. But we could fight the Papal States here. Oh. This is risky. This is the kind of thing that could have us be attacked by Castalla or Britain. But this is also... it's not something we could give up. This is a chance to take Sicily and Africa and colonies. It's It's risky, though. Pull? Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, we'll do a very short one. This is a minute long, so vote very quickly. Okay, so let me speak this out on both sides. On the one hand, we have a martial chancellor, one who is looking to get the monarchists firmly back in power and seize power from the status. If they can be very strong and take bold action here, it could be enough to get the monarchy back formally in power. He's also clearly a military man, and we are in the best period we've been in quite a while. On the other hand, if we go to war with the Papal States, it would provide the opportunity for us to be invaded by Castilla, or by France, or any other great power. And if we're fighting a two-front war, even with the Papal States, we would just get destroyed. So this is very dangerous. Liscandria V is the current king. We could RP that since he inherited at age 4, he was taught by angry nobles, and such that he has the divine right to rule unopposed. And he has the reason to take back power from the monarchy. Yeah, definitely. I think all the monarchs would be looking to take it back. It was really just that one we had who was like raised by the burghers. None have been since. Oh, if we succeeded here. Absolutely. Overwhelmingly, yes. All right. We're going to unmothball the fleet. We're going to bring our troops back to Europe. A few of them, at least. We'll put an invasion force of 40,000 in Tunis, ready to cross to Sicily. This is very reminiscent of the Punic Wars, isn't it? They have a very strong navy. Just a reminder, this will not be a cakewalk. But I think ours does very much outclass it here. We're also getting low on sailors. I don't like that. Because we're maintaining 47 heavy ships. That is very costly on troops. This would be big, though, if we could get this. Yeah, they're at war with so many people right now, too. Oh, all right. We have to go here. I'm calling in Bohemia. I'm calling in Liscandria. Okay, let's wait till we're not mothballed. Patience. Patience, patience, patience. Our goals in this war will be taking the remnants of North Africa, Sicily, and then their colonies. In order of importance, it's Sicily, colonies, and then North Africa. Because I think our government at this point is very much accepting the fact we may lose much of North Africa still to Castilla at this point. Yeah, Argentina is owned by the Papal States right now. We no longer have a truce with Cuba. We'll put Hamda Badra in power, who is a burgher. One more. February we declare. Here we go! We are at war with the Papal States for the first time in, I think, 100 years. Oh, our Navy just got engaged. Fuck. Here we go. We're trying to chase them down. Fuck, they are quick, aren't they? Here we go. The Papal Fleet. Not big enough. Let's land in Sicily. We're gonna go immediately. We'll land in Palermo. I'm gonna get them to hunt enemy fleets in the Mediterranean. We'll just do that. In the New World, I will send the rest of our forces down to the south. If we can get access for the attack Ruhr, I think we can. Yes, we can. Huge. We're gonna march on Rio de la Plata. Their fleet is based in Messina right now. Where's ours? Here we go. We're just gonna hold in the strait. That is a big fleet. God damn it. Fuck you, Castalla. They're enforcing peace on us. You gotta be kidding me. We're gonna have to. God damn it. That was so huge. But they knew that too, right? There's no way Castalla would let us fight this war and get powerful in the Mediterranean again. Oh, fuck. It's a goddamn tragedy. Wait, why? We're allying with Byzantium anymore either? I want to fight Castalla, but we need probably 60, 70 heavy ships to even contend them navally. And we're just not there. Pick the Axis. 94, it's going down. God damn it, that would have been so huge. We could go fight another war with the Hosokawa instead. Realistically. The other thing is we could talk with the pirates about trying to get the Indies. God damn it. It was such a big opportunity. Chris, you still here out of RP?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Are you able to fight the West Indies without Castalla joining, or are they gonna always join?
Yeah, no, I can fight them without.
Okay, cool. We could RP out a thing where I give you troops and stuff or something like that.
I just can't fight them until 1631.
Okay. 31?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, shit, okay. Are you able to fight the other pirates or like the Florida or something like that?
The pirates are getting stomped by Castilla at the moment, by the West Indies at the moment, actually.
I see that. Can you enforce peace on that war? Do you know how to do that?
Not sure if I can. I don't think I'm powerful enough.
That's true.
Great power.
Are you able to ally them? Because then I think they'll call you in.
Nope, I've been trying to, but they won't let me.
I see. Ironically, I actually can. There's no way we would ally them. We're kind of waiting till 31 then. Oh. Can we? This is interesting. We might be able to enforce peace on Ford and support the natives. I did want to protect them this whole time because I think they're a natural ally. Given that we hate everyone else in Europe. And so do they. Yeah, if we get up our relations with the tribe here, we can intervene and go to war with Florida and try and get them back some land. Because at this point, RP-wise, we are just the saltiest bitch on the earth. We're almost as salty as pirates. Like, we just hate everyone around us. Our government is doing anything it can to fuck over all of our rivals. We have no friends in Europe except in Eastern Europe. So if we can fight our allies anywhere and everywhere... I mean, you gotta remember, this is the era of colonial wars. Constantly the great powers were working with each other trying to fuck over all of their rivals. Fuck, not in time. I am going to start improving relations with all the native tribes. That way we can intervene on their behalf in the future. So I guess we will just have a period of peace here. We're going to improve relations with the native tribes, so when they get declared on next, we can send troops to the colonies to support them and help them get back land. We're going to also wait for the pirates to get back, be able to fight after the truce, and we'll have a contingent of forces waiting to support them in the Indies. Given this is the age of absolutism, our government is locked in the bitter power struggle between the monarchists and the statists, which the monarchists have almost won. So we're going to work on the economy, and we're going to prepare for the coming colonial wars. We're basically just going to fight proxy wars from here on out, and lots of them too. We are also losing sailors so fucking fast. I do not know why. Put all our forces onto land and start to drill them. We need a lot more military leaders here. Let's get a name I can pronounce. Liscandria will be sent to the colony of California. We'll drill the troops there. Orzone dell'Italia will be one of our generals in Tunis. He will drill troops there. And then the soldiers we sent south to fight in Papal La Plata, which I suppose have just raided and been occupying the capital of Papal Argentina and are finally going home. They got the word that we had pieced out of the war a little late, or they chose to ignore it. Probably the latter. I mean, good steak, good wine in the region. There's no reason to go home too quickly. I'm going to build up some more impressment offices. We're going to need a lot more sailors for these coming wars. I mean a lot. Smugglers are destroying our taxation. The smugglers are really fucking up our economy. So we're losing at least 10% of our nation's economy to smugglers right now. The piracy is really out of hand. That's not even including the privateers who keep stealing a bunch of the gold off our gold ships. It's ridiculous. We'll call a diet. We'll develop the base tax. No, that's the clergy. We'll build a dock in Ducala. Where is that at? Probably in North Africa. Yes, it is. I'll build a dockyard there. New Norway is a thing in like modern day England. Yeah, so Norway has a huge colony up in modern day Canada, but they're competing there with the Usagai. So there's two Canadas. There's the Japanese one under the Usagai, and then there's the Norwegian one, which is modern day basically. What would that be? Like in our own history, there were basically two Canadas, right? There was the French one and there was the English one, with the French on the Far East and the British getting everything else. In this timeline, it's the Japanese and the Norwegians. And the Norwegians are like the French, and the Japanese are like the English, because they have the majority of it, including most of the fur hunting and trapping regions. Yeah, the Norse did get subdued. They're no longer around. They got conquered. There was that Norse colony there, but it's gone now. Then again, Norway itself conquered it, so realistically, they would have just integrated it and forced them all to convert to Christianity, which is really sad, but... Is there any Asatru left? No, fuck. Yeah, they completely converted out all of the Asatru remaining there. The Catholic purges of the Old Norse in the New World. That's a tragedy. And then Shinto Northern Canada. It is a shame. To be expected, though. We can get an alliance with the Iroquois. I don't think so. Strategically, what we're going to do is we will have dispatched advisors. Friends of His Majesty's government. The treaties with the two great tribes that remain used to be that they were united in the Great Federation, one that spanned almost all of North America. But they were destroyed by infighting, and Castilla and France constantly knocking down their door. Now there are two great federations left, the Kaski Federation in the west, and the remnants of the Iroquois in the east. We are not going to explicitly ally either one. What we'll have done is dispatched ambassadors, whereby we will have given them secret promises, behind closed doors, that troops from Sardinia and ships will sail to their aid next time they face a European power. We both hate the Western powers. We both hate the other colonizers, though we're not much better, to be frank, but we are more tolerant, and they would know that, to a degree. We'd be just a tiny bit different. A little better. Not much, but a little bit, and they can work with us. We're basically the French of this timeline, right? Where we didn't get the majority of the lands in North America to start off with, at least to start off with, and we instead worked with many of the natives. We're going to switch our colonial policy, too. I'm going to switch us to native coexistence. We've completely switched up our policy in the capital, given that there's no lands left to colonize, and as always, we are pragmatic Machiavellians. We even took that governmental reform. So we have completely switched our policy towards them. And as such, we are going to choose to start coexisting. I mean, we're very religiously tolerant, so it's not like we don't have a natural starting point for that. So next time one of them are attacked, we're going to use that opportunity to intervene in the war, enforce peace, and get them back some lands. I don't think we're going to try and take any colonial land in North America. What we're going to try and do is help them get their land back. And by doing so, secure allies. There's no allies left for us in Europe. There's none. Lotharingia will remain an ally. Ruthenia in the east, but they're not colonial powers. The Western ones we have no more friends with, so we need to start looking elsewhere for allies, starting in North America. If we do eventually get there too, I think we'll also look to ally some of those Asian countries. What I would love to do is get a treaty port in Asia and ally the Ming and help them fight the Chagatai. Unfortunately, I'm afraid that there's no way in fuck we're going to be able to fight off the Chagatai. They're also getting invaded by Pallas. Are the Ming about to be partitioned by Burma and the Mongols? That's insane. They are. Look at that. They're fighting Korea too. Oh my gosh. I don't think the Ming can come back from this either. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, they're more Bengal. That is true. They're Buddhist too, I think. Yeah, they are. Oh my gosh. Buddhist Bengal and Muslim Chagatai are currently partitioning the remnants of the Ming. They were so strong in the early game, and they're really struggling now. Organized construction. But yeah, in terms of allies, North America. The Hosokawa also currently do own half of Mexico. I want to see the Castella-Hosokawa colonial war. That'll be interesting. Alrighty. More sailors. Finland is in Quebec and stuff. Usugai are like the Yukon territories. Yes. There will probably end up being two Canadas and Vic 3. And I wonder if they're going to be able to do the unifying decision. Because either it'll be the Norwegians or the Japanese who end up doing it. God, North America is going to be interesting in Vic 3. I cannot wait for that. My gosh. Any regions with naval supplies? We need to make naval hubs here in the Mediterranean. Corsica, which we don't own. Naval supplies give us way more advantages for naval force limit. Grain gives a little bit, but it's not as good. And we're still being raided by fucking pirates. Jesus. We thought that by sending troops and ships to support Cuba and the other pirates, that we would have some measure of support and would no longer be raided. We immediately found out that was not the case. I'm sure like literally months after that war, when we thought we were safe, another one of our treasure fleets just got sunk and taken. But our government's pragmatic. We know some small losses in the long term, they result in larger things, are worthwhile. I really would like to get let me look. I'm going to sort by manpower. Turn up the music. This is a good soundtrack. Sorry, Corsica. No, we do own Corsica. What am I talking about? We need to make Corsica into a naval hub. We've got a dockyard. I'm going to develop it up if we can. Oh, University of Cagliari. The University of Cagliari has attracted a new strand of teachers and students who are eager to modernize the institution. They're asking for funding to open a new college where they can further develop what they call new science, with a more experimental outlook and what they claim to be a less dogmatic approach to the world. Of course, within the existing academy, there is some resistance, and these would-be reformers. They argue that the money could be better spent supporting the existing institution, as new ideas are not necessarily better ideas. Who's our ruler? He's a martial educator. He's not the most competent man. We're going to listen to the conservatives, and we'll reject the new ideas. Dispatch a general to the New World under the command of Solomon del Corredo to deal with those rebels. Let's start to drill our troops there too. Corsica. We can develop it. We will not be getting new tech for quite some time. Develop the production. Gives us enough to develop. We'll build a naval equipment manufacturer. We're going to turn Corsica into a naval bastion. I'm going to get rid of the temple. And we're going to instead, when we have the money, we'll build a impressment office. Then we're going to get rid of the training fields. And I'm going to build a giant fortress on the island too. We're going to turn Corsica into just a bastion of naval power in the Mediterranean. Funnily enough, ancient Carthage actually had Corsica as one of its main naval bases outside, of course, Tunis. Famously, I think hopefully all y'all know because it's super cool, Carthage had that really interesting port. You've probably seen pictures of it, like in Total War Rome 2. There's like videos and you could fight naval battles and stuff in it. Well, they had the maritime port, which was just a large inland in Carthago. And then they had a really cool military port too, which was like a circular big disc with an island in the middle where they'd manufacture and store their ships during wars. But outside of that in Carthago, the two great naval ports where a lot of their ships were docked and at were in Cagliari on the southern coastline, I believe. And I know there was one in Corsica too, because famously the Romans in the Punic Wars fought a lot of big sea battles and land battles in Corsica and Sardinia in order to secure that. So we have on our home territories a very long, proud naval tradition we need to develop. The Punic Wars were so interesting navally. I won't rant about that, but they were so cool. All right, we have our first big reform in the age of absolutism. We have monarchy coming back. We have our naval traditions high. We're working with pirates, and we're becoming a trading power. Let's keep that in mind when we choose one here. Flexible rivalries is an interesting one. We're definitely not an absolute government. Higher developed colonies make sense, but there are no colonies left to get, are there? Financial opportunities would make sense. Faster trade connections would make sense. Endorsement of scientific study would not make sense of our current ruler. Developing economies would very much make sense. We'll go for that. Economically, we're so far ahead. You got to remember, RP-wise, we established one of the first great banks in Sassari all the way back in CK3. And for our size, we hit well above our weight class economically. We'll continue to develop that. I also, as one of our reforms, just a reminder, I like to keep this stuff in mind too, so I remember when we make decisions, is our economic reform was strengthen the industrial sector. So we have a very strong cottage industry, and we have like obviously the precursor to proper industrial facilities at this point. Because in order to compete with the other European powers economically, and for our traders to be competitive with lower prices, we've had to really innovate. We're nothing crazy. It's not like we're in the industrial age or anything, but we are very advanced for where we're at. All right, where else do we have a lot of manpower? Never mind, we have completely caught up on sailors. We're fine. Let's go ahead and build a naval battery on Sassari. If we don't already have one, we do not. I'm going to get rid of the regimental camp on Sassari, and we're going to replace it with a naval battery. And we'll do that in Corsica too. I'm going to do the same thing in Tunis. So we're going to actually start. We have a stable period here. We have a lot of income. We will develop our economy, but I also want to make us more defensible here. We'll destroy the churches. Again, we are very much not religious like we were when we built all those. We're just allowing them to decay into almost nothing. Oh, there it is. Naval battery. I also want us to build a fortress in Tunis. We'll build a naval battery in Kabila to replace the church. Divine Right of Kings, we're not quite there. If we get the monarchy to 100 and we go back to them, we'll definitely take that for sure, though. Yeah. You mean land warfare on boats? Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. No, that's not entirely true. Mostly true. The Romans did that. They literally couldn't compete. I'm going to rant about this real quick because it is so interesting. One second, let me just do this. I do love the Punic Wars naval history. It's so cool. Yeah, so the naval wars in the Punic were the biggest naval battles in human history, unarguably. In terms of water displacement, in terms of ship size and like caliber, obviously it was probably World War II, primarily the wars, battles in the Pacific. There's also the Battle of Jutland, famously, where the Germans and the British fought in World War I. But the biggest naval battles were in the Punic War, between Carthago and the Romans. Funnily enough, when they started the Punic Wars, the Republic of Rome had no idea how to... They had, like, no navy. When they were starting the first Punic War, Rome had fought primarily on land its whole history. They had no idea what the fuck they're doing. So, you know what they did? They didn't innovate. They literally found a Carthaginian shipwreck and they reverse engineered it. Because the Romans were very good at many things. One of the biggest of which was really taking other people's technology and being willing to adapt it. They had no moral scruples or shame or issues with needing to develop their own technologies. Everything you associate with the Roman military was probably taken from other cultures. There's very few which they originally had. Strong cavalry, good horsemanship, maybe. The equites came from the original Roman civilization. Beyond that, most things they adapted. It was the same with Navy. In the Punic Wars, Rome, as I said, in the beginning, they had no real good naval ships. Up until then, they'd really just use, like, I think they even just, did they just use mercenaries? I think they didn't even really have many of their own ships besides transports, because Greece and Carthage were the two great naval regions of the time. So when they fought Carthage, who was the greatest naval power in the Mediterranean, unequivocally, their fleet blotted out the sun, so to speak, right? They reverse engineered Carthaginian ships. But as a result, theirs were obviously not as good. They hadn't been great shipbuilders for hundreds of years, because before Carthage with Carthage, they were the Phoenicians, also some of the greatest boat builders in early history. Carthage, of course, being a colony of Phoenicia. Now, despite Carthage having the advantage in both quality of ships and, of course, naval traditions, Rome was able to compete very quickly. Why? Land battles on sea, that's why. Naval battles on time period were all fought by, like, trireme style. If you've ever seen those pictures of Greek ships where they've got like the eyes on the front and that giant ram, ramming tactics were the main strategy up until the age of sail, which was that ships would row very quickly and you would try and get your ram stuck into the other ship. It was a balance though, because if you did it too hard, you'd go down with their ship because you'd get sunk with it. But if you did it too lightly, you wouldn't pierce it. So the naval skill at the time was to have very well-trained naval rowing crews who could hit ships just right and sink them. And that's how war had been fought navally in the Mediterranean since ancient history. I mean, all the way back, you know, to like what was the famous naval battle between the Athenian Greek Navy and the Persians where they won? Militios or something? Anyway, ramming had been the normal tactic up until then. Rome changed the game by, again, they couldn't compete with the skill of Carthage, they couldn't compete with the quality of their ships, so they made an invention, which was basically like a giant fucking boarding thing. They put bridges on their ships, and so when they fought naval battles with the Carthaginians, they would literally just like put down these giant fucking bridges, and they just cross and fight land battles on sea, which was fucking ridiculous. But they also sunk a bunch of their ships, I think. I don't know if that stayed relevant, but it was huge in the Punic Wars. So what Rome would do is just build these massive fleets with their resources, and they built them so quickly. The amount of ships that were built in the first and second Punic Wars were mind-boggling. Some of these battles on sea were estimated to be hundreds of thousands of soldiers. Like, again, these were the biggest naval battles in history, with the exception, in terms of manpower, of maybe some of the wars in China. Again, it's very tough to accurately know the numbers in these wars because they were so long ago, right? And we don't have a lot of really good sources. But the Punic Wars were fairly well documented. Now again, these battles in the Punic Wars were just massive. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers on sea, hundreds upon hundreds of ships. And the Carthaginians were trying to ram, and they were very good at it, but they didn't know what to do because the Romans wouldn't try and do what was typical at the time of like just battles back and forth of trying to hit each other. They'd just roll up next to their ships and fight a land battle. And Carthage didn't know what the fuck to do. So they were losing these massive naval battles, which were just unprecedented. It would be like nowadays, someone fighting the US Navy, right? Because you just think of it as such a monolithic power that no one can contend with. It's like if like fucking China shows up in a naval battle and starts building boarding US carriers and ships and winning, right? Like it's that crazy. All of our minds would be blown. There'd be no precedent. It's comparable to that, right? So Rome won most of the naval battles in the Punic Wars after their initial losses when they were still getting used to these technologies. It was fucking crazy. So Carthage really struggled because they couldn't adapt to it, right? They couldn't contend. Even if they'd also developed a similar tactic to fight land battles on sea, they couldn't compete with Roman discipline and Roman troop quality, so they were really at the mercy of Rome. Do you know the only reason that Carthage managed to survive the first Punic War was solely due to, they didn't win. Like, Rome literally lost their main fleets due to storms. It's the only reason they survived. Rome was going to take basically all their territory in the Mediterranean and make them a client state in the first Punic War because they'd won every naval battle. They'd occupied Sicily. They'd occupied, I believe, both Sardinia and Corsica, and they demanded almost everything. But what happened is Rome's mega fleet just got sunk because, again, Romans weren't very good sailors at the time. They still hadn't adapted to naval traditions, and they just weren't ready. So, like, Rome lost their fleet in a storm. That's the only reason Carthage survived the first Punic War and were able to get to the second one. I mean, they survived by the skin of their teeth, and they still lost a lot in that peace deal, right? It was fucking crazy. But yeah, naval warfare at that time was just ridiculous. And the naval history of the Punic Wars, I think, is probably some of the most interesting, with the exception of World War II, because the development of modern carrier and battle tactics in World War II, especially in the Pacific, is fucking fascinating, but nothing compared to the Punic Wars. Anyway, rant over. I love naval warfare in history, and the Punic Wars were incredible, and given we're almost a successor state of Carthago, I think it's enough for me to rant to you about that for 10 minutes. Super fucking interesting. If you've always been someone who enjoys land battles and land warfare in history, I really recommend you take the time to read a bit of naval history. You'll really, I think, enjoy it. If you guys play strategy games, if you like paradox games, you'll like naval history, and it's something that many people overlook, because I don't think many people realize how relevant and important naval battles would be. I can argue for days about the fact I think most of the naval battles in history are probably more impactful on the course of human history than most of the land battles that people associate it with. It's just that they're overlooked and forgotten by many scholars because it doesn't have the prestige, and it doesn't, I think, have the interest many people have in land warfare. Because, you know, land battles are much more tactically complex, they're much more interesting, and there's a much more, I don't know how to put it, a martial spirit, I suppose, in it. But naval battles in history are just fucking fascinating, and they're so impactful. Anyway, ran over. What's up, Crimson? Was unable to watch. What have I missed? We tried to support the pirates in the Caribbean. Liscandria has gone into a pirate kingdom, which we're going to be helping very shortly. We've almost fought a war with the Papal States and took territory, but Castellus made us peace out. That's been most of what we've done today. Alrighty. Rant over. Let's go back to administering our kingdom here. Still haven't completed that. Let's build another naval battery here. Anywhere else we'd want to build one? Build them in our colonial regions too. Anywhere we make it more difficult for ships to siege and land, the better. Floating logs, they basically cheated? Yes. Trevadion, you are absolutely right. Rome really did cheat. I mean, it's the fucking speed one. It's referred to as naval innovations, but yes, you're right. They basically cheated. You gotta respect the balls and the innovation on that, though. There's literally a conversation with, like, you know, in Rome where they're like, guys, we're so good on land. We can barely lose land battles, except to Hannibal, of course. But, like, on sea, we're just getting defeated. What do we do? And then some guy in the back's like, what if we put land battles on sea? And it worked. And Rome became a superpower. Because if they hadn't beat Carthage, there's no way they would have become what they were. Kind of crazy. But that's what I mean, right? Naval warfares have defined history. It was the naval battles of the ancient world that defined it. Think about it. What were the two cataclysmic events that could have changed the whole course of European and world history? There were two. The Persian invasion of Greece, which would not have allowed Alexander to come about later and to, you know, just completely shake up the Middle East, Egypt, and a lot of the world from then on out. What stopped that? A naval battle. Why is it that Rome beat Carthage, the superpower of the ancient world, and was able to outcompete them navally? Naval battles, right? If you look at any period of history that are associated with great generals, great conquerors, there's always a naval battle which has allowed it to happen. Every single time. I can promise you. Go back in history and look. They're always there. It's just they get overlooked. I love what naval warfare on EU4 as well as colonization. Two things many people hate. I think that's because EU4 naturally more incentivizes land warfare. They've built a lot of their DLC and mechanics around it. And I do wish Paradox Games had more options, mechanics, and a focus on naval aspects. But I understand why they don't. Many people don't enjoy it. Think about Man the Guns. That's my favorite Hoi 4 DLC, and it's one of the least popular. It's very well respected in what it is, but many people don't like it. It is mechanically complicated, to be fair, but naval mechanics in games just tend to get very overlooked. They're also not really done well a lot of the time, so it's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, I think. Naval and land warfare history is so fascinating to watch throughout history. True. All's fair in love and war. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, if you win, you win. That's really all it is. There's no morality in warfare, and anyone who argues otherwise is... what's the word? A dumbass? We'll go with that. We'll put another naval battery down here. Every single one of our coastlines now has a naval battery, which will give attrition to enemy fleets. That means when Castellus forces fleet moves along our coastline in a war, they're going to naturally be attritioning now, which is really big. We'll need to get one down here too. What's up, Tala? How you doing? Rome just meted their way to victory. True. They used naval space marines is what they did. They broke the rules. Just look at how Britain decimated the Spanish Armada. True. Same thing there, right? Same thing there. Naval innovations. I've already ranted about that before in the Battle of Trafalgar and how interesting it is, historically and tactically, right? I won't do a full rant on it. But like the reason the British beat the Spanish Armada in the Napoleonic Wars, when it could have gone both ways. Spain and France combined technically had a lot of better ships in the Battle of Trafalgar. Britain did fight that battle with less ships and better quality ships. The reason that Nelson won is because he didn't do the line of battle. You know that tech we just got that I talked about us having for the next 300 years? The line of battle where ships would go in a line and just broadside each other, essentially. It was all about who had the better win, who better positioned, right? Nelson didn't do the line of battle. What he did instead is he just sent his ships into the fucking middle. He counted on the fact that the Spanish and French navies, which both obviously had different tactics, different commands, different ship signaling systems, wouldn't be able to communicate as well as like a full French or full Spanish navy. And he was right, because the French and the Spanish navies, which were obviously working together in the Napoleonic Wars, had both positioned their fleets in the Battle of Trafalgar together. So what he did, instead of just using his fleet to whip around and do, you know, the line of battle to fire, is he just sent his ships into the fucking middle. Unprecedented, and would have got him probably executed if he hadn't succeeded. Because it had never been done before, really. But what he did instead is he sent groups of his ships, still in lines, right into the middle of the Spanish fleet. And when they got into the middle and the chaos, they really did ship-to-ship battles with firing. It was pure chaos. The Battle of Trafalgar was fucking insane. And he counted on his troops being better trained, which they were. His ships being able to communicate better, because communicating at all in a naval battle when it got close quarters was hard. There's no way the French and the Spanish did that. So they had no communication, and the chaos allowed them to win that battle. I mean, that was absolutely crazy. The Battle of Trafalgar is so interesting. Just literally chaos doctrine. Oh my god. I need to watch the speed here. I'm ranting. I get excited about naval history. Alright. Let's move our troops back up to the north. The Spanish Armada is actually the Spanish fleet that sailed from Lisbon in late May of 1588 during the 8 Years' War. Is it really? Spain also lost like 2 armadas trying to invade Britain for like the winds and shit like that. It's funny. Think of to follow Crimson Crash if you're still here, and think of to follow Larry the Fish. Yeah, my favorite is when, I think it wasn't it Philip of Spain built like a massive armada of like 100 giant ships and tried to navally invade Britain, and they all got sunk because of that giant storm. That happened more than once, but the big one I think was under Philip. I think. Wasn't it Philip who like built that giant armada that got sunk? I think it was him. That was in the heyday of the Spanish Empire, and he, to be fair, was a very capable administrator and a very capable king, but a lot of misfortune and religious zealotry, I think, kind of defeated a lot of what he could have done. Alrighty. Almost done with that. We're at a great project. I'm trying to think what we want to do here. Trying to get us to 31 so we can at least do one great battle with the pirates today. Storm's out here being the greatest naval contender. True. Britain's natural geography is so good for defense. I mean, the storms that you guys have on the North Sea and around your country have been so useful. The English Channel is your weakness, though. But that's why y'all build a navy, and it worked. Alright, let's go for production, maybe. We'll build some more state houses to bring order to colonial regions. Oh, uprising of the Marathas in the Mewar. Warrior class took power in India. They're not a region that we have been very much paying attention to. Today, the 17th of April of 1628, King Simeon IV again sent for his subjects and held court in Sassari. Apart from his well-known and loyal subjects, a few new places appeared at court. I won't read the whole thing because we're going to lose the event. It's just what advisor do we want? We'll go with the military advisor. Campione? Get a cheaper, higher quality one. We will not give the French military access. There's no way in hell. And the Dutch invaded Britain with a very narrow, nary a shot fired. True. The Dutch Navy was very strong for a long period. When Britain used like a couple fire ships to sink the entire Spanish Navy. True. You did that to the Dutch too, didn't you? Once or twice, I think, right? Y'all used naval fire ships very effectively. I think didn't you do that to beat one of the big naval fleets from the Netherlands? 99% sure I remember reading that. In one of those big battles. Because there were 2 or 3 big wars with the Dutch y'all fought, and it was all naval. Alright, we need more impressment offices, but we don't have any development. We just have, you gotta remember, folks, we have almost no European holdings left, so we can't develop really much here. I'm gonna build a bastion in the interior to make us as defensible as possible. The situation seems dire. What's up, Moose? It is nothing compared. You know how bad it's been for us in EU4? This is the best we've been doing in a long time, which says a lot. We are currently at like the best place we've been at in EU4 since the death of Castor, I should say. Let's start building some ramparts too to make attrition even higher. We have to make ourselves into a porcupine here. We'll need more places to put things. We'll build one in Kabila to start off with. Get rid of the workshop. We'll need to give up some manufacturing to become more defensive, but that's fine. I want to build one on Sassari too when we can. We will replace... Do we replace to church? That'd be a very important moment in many ways if we do that. We'll get rid of the training fields in Sassari. And in their place, we will build ramparts. I think I'm going to try and do the same in Cagliari too. We're also going to build a fortress on Cagliari. As defensive as possible. That's the name of the game here. When we get the money. What does Northern Europe look like right now? Hesse is very dominant. They're the Kaiser. Sweden is very dominant in the Baltic alongside Lithuania. Britain is huge. Lotharingia, very powerful. Denmark is still alive. Norway is also still alive. And they are probably going to end up going to Canada. Canada may just end up being Norway. They'll be like the Portuguese, escaped to the New World. Losing the Iberian holdings really did a number on us. They were so valuable. I didn't also realize how much development they had at a time. Let's look over the development of the region we lost here. 29, 33, 30, 36, 31, 35, 42, 29, 35. All that development is gone, as well as Ibiza, which is a strategically valuable region. That's the same one. I think I remember they lost some of their fleets to fire ships and the rest to storms running away. Yeah, exactly. Spain got very unlucky navally. It's kind of ironic. The Dutch did that to the Spanish fleet after flooding the lowlands. Really? The city fell eventually, but they did survive the war. Yeah, when the Netherlands was formed, all the fighting in the lowlands against Spain was literally just like early guerrilla tactics. I gotta say, having watched all the VODs, this went from a cool trade kingdom to an ice skating off up a mountain to not die. True. This did become like survival mode. Sadly, the fireship tactic only works with the element of surprise, so you can only do it once. Per navy, per war. But yeah, that's true. One of my favorite naval differences is in the World War II differences, how the Pacific theater versus the European theater impacted carrier designs. British carriers having armored decks versus US having lots of carrier space, true, for more aircraft. Yeah, most people don't realize how many like planes we could fit on carriers in World War II. Like the Battle of the Philippine Sea, I want to say had like 600 carrier planes on both sides. Because I think there were well over, I think, a dozen carriers in that battle. And the U.S. just packed our ships full of carrier fighters. It was insane. The reason being because the Pacific methodology of just don't be where the enemy is doesn't work in Europe with landmass and air bases everywhere. True. Yeah, the Pacific is massive. Half the deciding factors in the naval battles of the Pacific in World War II were really just who spotted each other first, who got the advantage in terms of actually getting their carriers off first, right? Because the reason we won a lot of naval battles in the Pacific was because we spotted Japanese ships first and Japanese carriers, and we were able to sortie our carrier fighters and sink their ships. And that was the case on really both sides of that conflict. Super interesting. Yes, we won Midway because we spotted them first. Yes, 100%. We actually, I think, didn't have the advantage in terms of engaged ships during that battle because they were so spread out. That's interesting. Cracking their codes were really huge for that. Okay, let me think here. We'll build the fortress in Cagliari. We'll build ramparts in Cagliari 2 later. Europe is about as defensive as we can get it now, to be honest. Some more state houses. We will take Gustavian infantry. We are very ahead of time in military now. We'll go with Reform Tercio. We're going to be fighting defensive warfare most of the time, so we'll take that. Build over Diet. 2 years out from being able to support the pirates. Burgers want a trade depot in Sassari. That makes sense, doesn't it? We'll upgrade that after we're done with our ramparts. I wonder what Liscandria and Arcadia will look like when the colonies gain independence. True. I can't wait to see Free New World in Victory. That's going to be so cool. Another economic idea. A national bank, of which we've already had for almost 400 years. We're making it official, I guess. Ah, the Iroquois are at war with Florida. All right, let's see if we can actually enter this war now. This would be huge. We're going to dispatch an envoy to the Iroquois Confederacy, offering them a formal alliance. As promised. They've called us into the war. All right, here we go. This is huge. We're trying to offset the power of the other great Western empires by allying with other powers in the New World. We are going to send a fleet. Let's unmothball it. And we're going to prepare a great force to march. I'm going to dispatch 18,000 troops under the control of Barzone dell'Italia. They are going to land in the Iroquois-controlled region in the north. And we're going to do our best to support Florida. And we're going to try and knock out their navy, too, if we can here. If we could support the Iroquois to take back a bunch of their territory and develop ourselves a very strong ally in North America, we will be in a much stronger shape in the New World. The question is, can we get there in time? I'm going to get our heavy ships to attach themselves to our trade ships so we can get there for sure. So, Chris, I'll give you a minute to catch up here. Then the Japanese didn't have proper firefighting. Fucking true. Not just they didn't have proper firefighting, they really let standards go in terms of safety precautions, and they were so honorable and stubborn, they would refuse to basically compensate on speed and firepower to deal when they actually got hit. It was a huge issue for them. The Japanese high command really didn't like it, but they didn't know what to do about it, essentially. Because the honorous culture, right, of their country was just so ridiculous that they would make bad decisions for those regions. What's the development of the Home Isles? Sari is 59. Arborea is 22. Cagliari is 36. And Corsica is 31. Alrighty. This is multiplayer because I will bring in people once in a while to roleplay. Chris is here and he's roleplaying the pirates. He just got screwed at the start of the game and he's waiting for the peace treaty to end. Alright. Let's land those ships. They got attacked by Sweden too. We're gonna have to defend the Iroquois from Florida and Sweden. Sweden has a big navy. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. We're fighting a two-front war. Well, the theme of this campaign has been poor allies. And it seems that if we want an ally, we are gonna have to fucking fight for it. That is for sure. Those are a lot of troops here. Let's try and meet up with the Iroquois. Let's bring another army. The one in South America is closer. Let's bring it up quickly. We're going to need to just get as many troops here as we can. This is very dangerous, but we're going to do it. We're fully committing. Sweden's landing, and that holding we still up in the north in Bremen. That's fine. Sweden is an empire. They are very strong. They're the greatest Protestant power in the world, too. No one has been able to convert them or fight them because they're so strong. They destroyed the Vladimir. Well, not the Vladimir. They destroyed Vladimir, just for context. Here we go. Big battle. We have to win this. I'm going to be a little cheesy here. We have no discipline advisor. God damn it. That is going to hurt us. Come on. Come on. Oh, we got it. We got the shock. We beat them. Huge. Oh, Florida's army got pushed back. That is huge. We had to chase them. This is big. We got to take advantage of this. Lucerna Campione. We're bringing in another 20,000 troops here. Let's go. Big. They're running. All right, I'm going to go siege at their capital to north. We're going to wait for those reinforcements, and then we're going to push south on them here. This is so big. We'll need to go after Florida's navy, too. If we have enough troops in Florida, though. How many heavy ships do they have? Let's go look. We do have to be careful here. Our navy may be strong, but... France is 26, Sweden is 24. If we hit them with our heavy fleet, we're fine. Oh, this is huge. What's up, Curse? Florida is a colony of France. It's France's pinnacle colony. Not bad in terms of development. I once played Italy. Tall had throughout the game developed every province in Tuscany region to 80 or 90. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I know there's a way to really dev places up. I've really tried to avoid stacking bonuses. I've done a little bit in EU4 because you kind of have to, but I really try to avoid that. But the AI does it. That's the problem. France also has those territories in the south. We may try and take those in this war. All right, let's go. Navy, go, 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 go. Oh, the fuck up. We aren't going to get to them. We will take out a small contingent of their navy. They went into port in their capital, which we are sieging out. Did Chris, DC? Are you still here? Okay, cool. We sunk the Floridian Navy. It is gone. Bring down our forces. Let's fight a big battle here. France is not in the war. We entered against one of their colonies. We're fighting on behalf of the Iroquois. France proper is not in the war. Sweden is, though. And they will probably try and siege us out. But we have to fight in the New World first. Okay, I'll leave contingent for sieges. Then we're going to go south. Here we go. Oh, this is huge. Has Chagatai taken China yet? Let's go look. No, but they're very deep, and they're fighting another war. We are about to get a new Chinese dynasty, by the way, and it's going to be a Muslim one. The Mongols are also fighting them, too. The Mongols are not as strong as the Chagatai either. Genghis Khan's ancestors will not be winning this. Unless they manage to get an ally somehow, or something like that. Here we go. Push the rest of the navy out of port as well. And then we're going to repair our fleet, and I'm going to take it up north, and we're going to try and fight the Swedes. Do the Swedes have colonies? They do not. This war is probably to try and secure a colony. Big battle. Big fucking battle. Fuck, 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 go, 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 go. Oh, come on. Oh, no. Oh, no. Did we get stack wiped? We did. That's bad. Damn it. All right, let's retreat up here. We're going to have to bring over another army from somewhere. It'll have to be the European one. Yeah, we lost a lot of soldiers there. That was a huge fuck up. Small dragon icon, yes. Yeah, they lost all their reform. They lost all their mandate. They're very weak now. We actually do have deterrence. I shouldn't say this out loud because we're going to get attacked, but the reason we haven't been attacked by Castello now is because we actually do have big allies in Europe. Lombardy and the Chevion states are very strong. So they'll actually have to fight a major power if they fight us at this point. I hope that stays for a while longer. We're not going to get troops in time. Talk to the... We get out access from them. We can go hide up in the north. Oh, this is not good. That is a big army. We're gonna make a last stand here. Maybe a discipline advisor. Let's see. I will take the infantry combat ability, though. They aren't going after our army. They are sieging. So if we can get reinforcements here in time, we can actually beat this army. We can do star bastions now too. Yeah, CK3 changed dramatically after the DLC. By the way, we're doing multiplayer roleplay of that after this today. We are starting that HRE game. I am playing the Habsburgian Count in Switzerland. Bohemia called us against Norway. God damn it. And the Papal States and Bavaria. We'll build another contingent of reservists in North Africa. We are at war with the Papal States. I think. Did they not join? They did not join. Okay. Oh, this is ridiculous. Here they come. We're not going to get there in time. Yep, here they come. We got to win this. Oh, boy. Come on! God, look at the morale. It's so much higher. We are rolling really well, though. It's not enough. The play might be able to retreat here carefully, and then we can meet up with the rest of our soldiers. I'm going to do that. We're going to retreat south. We might have time for those other 18,000 soldiers to get here. Then we'll have the army to hold. If we lose this army, we're gone, though. And we killed a lot of troops, though. Their morale is just so high. Our army quality is better, but we can't compete with that. Because they have a lawn, don't they? Or that French idea. Put our fleet into port. Shattered, look at that. So close, come on. The EU4 just holding off the French troops for us. Go, go, go. Let's reinforce them. Oh, fuck. No, 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 no. We go. We still might win this. We have no morale, though. We landed them? Here we go, here we go. We won? We won? Oh my god. Huge. We're at war with Norway, though. Do remember that now, because of this war in Europe. Oh my god, they have... You gotta be kidding me. Look at that troop count. Oh my god, Norway is strong. Vinland has 40,000 troops here. We're not at war with the Iroquois. We're gonna go south. We're going to send our navy and try to knock out the Norwegian fleet here. We're going to hide up here somewhere. Well, they are not. On enemy fleets. Could bring another 20,000, couldn't I? We really want to all in on this war? I could bring that other 20,000 from Europe. We'd have the entire army in North America. I am tempted, I'll be honest. They are losing in north of... oh my god, look at that fleet. Can't do this. We're gonna go south. We'll siege out Florida. We'll just sacrifice the Northern Iroquois territories. I'm gonna repair the fleet in North Africa. Then we're gonna go after the Swedish fleet. You gotta remember, Norway isn't fighting the Iroquois, they're fighting us. If we can get the Iroquois to win this war, we're fine. California sent troops up from the west too. This is the play, come on. A revolt in South America, we cannot deal with that right now. Out of RP, Chris, are you able to start that war?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the other part of their fleet. They've got 30 of the ships on this island, and they've got their army split. So I'm just trying to find where them other ships are, because if I can take them out, I can stop them landing anyone.
I see, okay.
So
And given the chaos, oh fuck.
Can't find.
Fuck.
I'm about ready to declare, to be honest.
Okay, this is bad. It's very bad. I'm force marching all our troops right now. Oh, we have to get here. We got there. Come on, hold it. Just hold. We got there. I don't know if it's enough, though. Oh, fuck, this is bad. Nope, we're not going to win this. Why are they so strong? We get this army here in time. Come on. Oh, this is bad. Disastrous. Fuck. I know what I'm gonna do. Fuck. Still, we're in Norway. Oh, because of this war. We're all inning. Come on. 2 days. Oh, we're not dead. We didn't get stack wiped. I paid a lot of money to get us out of 2 wars here. We're in a lot of debt now, but we can actually fight the French. We need to run. Guerrilla tactics. The burgers just seizing more land in Europe while we're doing this. We'll get them to chase our army all the way to Louisiana. No, they're going back north. Never mind, they're going back north. All right, I'm going to bring our troops up. We might be able to get a battle here. We can recover. There's a shot. What is this war, man? The king died. All right, see you around, Chuck O'Neill. Have a good one, man. Good luck with. I think you're doing D&D today, right? Hope you have fun. Are we going to win? No fucking idea. We have to. We've given up so much for this. War battle with oh fuck. I'm gonna force march it. Come on. This is big. If our reinforcements get in here in time, we win this. And this is the only remaining forces in Florida. What? Come on. Oh, fuck, this is close. Come on. We got there. Oh, fuck, we got there. Nope, I'm doing it right this time. We're sieging the north and then we're going south. Come on. What's the hunger pick? Chris, you want to RP out a bit as the pirates? Because I do only have one more right now.
Right, we be taking back the Isle of Cuba.
Let me turn up. Very focused on this war, but I think we're good now. Alright, so obviously, Sardinia's in the middle of its giant colonial wars right now, and we'd be very much fearing Castello getting involved and attacking. Never mind, the war of Florida is over. Given I have no wars, we'd actually be willing to support you. So you get another envoy on your shores from the Sardinian government, which you know is very much in debt, and you've been stealing their ships for a while. You want to RP that out?
Okay.
Actually, all my troops can't get out of here.
A big chunk of my fleet probably is just stolen ships from most nations in the Caribbean at this point. We've been slowly building back up.
You'd have very few of your own. Take all these troops back to Europe. Well there, I am an envoy from His Majesty's government in Caesarea. I'm here to speak with whatever authority remains in Liscandria. We do not acknowledge the name you have given yourselves.
Aye. We be taking back the isle from those pesky Castilians.
His Majesty's government is willing to offer you troops and ships at this time. We have given much recently in order to involve ourselves in the New World. If you would be willing to promise us that your fleets will stop attacking our treasure fleets. We can send men and ships, but we need it in writing. We know that you have been known to honor deals once in a while.
Aye, that can be arranged. We can stop sinking the ships that fly your flag.
Including those of our colonies, yes?
Aye, if they be flying your colours, then they'll be safe.
We will help you in this war then, but we do expect you to honor that deal. There's already been one pirate haven destroyed in the Caribbean, and there will be another without our aid here.
Aye.
Out of RP? I can just do it this way, one sec.
Out of roleplay, I've more or less been able to think it myself, because I've managed to get my navy strong enough just to keep battering them away.
Oh, you have? Okay.
True.
That, and I will... How about RP-wise, I'll send just like a couple Marines and then ships, and then you'll just win the war more or less, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, our whole RP things, they kind of got fucked over by the Indies.
Like, be fine for next session.
Yeah, sure.
I should be fairly powerful next session, actually.
Yes, you will.
I have been taking their flagship,
The West Indies or Castalla themselves?
the West Indies.
I did not know that, they were wealthy enough to have a flagship. I should not be surprised. Another prize claimed. By the way, while I'm here, a representative from the burghers also wished me to ask about the ships that were sent to give supplies from the Bank of Sassari. We never got their ships back.
Aye, they've been pushed into service, keeping back the Castilians.
Yes, but the terms of the deal from the burghers were that we would give you the money for ships, but we said nothing about taking our own. They were to purchase a commission or build your own.
Aye, but that takes time.
I take it then they will be returned in the future when you have your own?
Aye, once we have built a substantial number of ships, we can send ye all back your way, back ship shape.
Good. That's good to hear. I will return back to my government as well as the burgher interests, and I will need not remind you that it would not be the case that your base of operations would have any place to sell their goods, nor any support from a European power without the interest of the Bank of Sassari. I do hope that you remember that in the future. You did actually take all their land. My gosh. Oh, fuck. All right. I guess we're just gonna watch it happen.
I've wiped out all the ships. They just can't
See
move
that?
there. In fact, by wiped out, they're all my ships now.
Did you take them all?
Yeah.
Oh my god, you were 67 ships.
Just don't look at my money deficit.
Bring back the last of those troops to Europe as well. We have very good relations with both tribes and the pirates. Basically, everyone involved we can enter on behalf of their wars now going forward. Also, we do have like 30 more minutes, and then we will go for the CK3 game. Man, I am at that point again with the Grand Campaign. I just don't want to stop after 3 or 4 hours. God damn it. This is the portion of EU4 I really enjoy. Once we get to the naval, colonial, and empire era, I love this portion of the Grand Campaign in EU4. Early EU4 I really struggle with to enjoy and just to do well in. But this portion I know what to do.
I love the colonial gameplay.
True. It's the best part of EU4. Right. Well, we have 2,200 ducats in loans. We did that in order to pay off the Bavarians and the Swedes to get out of those wars to fight Florida, which was worthwhile. The Iroquois did take back some land, but my god, that was costly. Interest payments are not as bad as I thought. Very costly, though. When are we killing the Pope? We tried earlier, Curse. And when we declared on them, Castalla forced a peace on us. Which will probably just happen again, to be fair. If we lose those alliances, we did. Why do we no longer have an alliance with Ruthenia? Are we losing those transport ships? God damn it, we are. Fuck. We need to get into port. Oh, we almost lost that whole army and fleet. We're gonna re-ally Ruthenia in the east. Another ally. Who was it? I think? Lotharingia. Need to really them too. We've been forced to annul treaties with them for 9 years. God damn it. That is actually really bad. Those were in those treaties we signed. That leaves us open to attack from Castile right now too. Oh boy. After 30 years of having an envoy stationed in Lombardy to rebuild our relationship with them, we were able to secure an alliance with the pinnacle Italian power left. If we can get that alliance back with Lotharingia, we'll actually have enough allies to defend ourselves in Europe now. That is huge. We'll mothball the fleet in Brazil. Pistola annexing Lyon. I think they made them a march. Independence supported by Byzantium, France, and Britain. If Lyon declares an independence war, Castile will have to fight all three of the great powers in Europe. That's when we strike. Oh, I hope that happens. That would actually be insane. We see the Liberty Desire. We're going to support their independence too. Yeah, they're just a regular vassal. Our colonies are fighting, and we can only side with one. We'll side with Peru. Actually could have that many generals. Oh, we'll train all 4 of our armies remaining. Running a debt. Are we over our limit? No, we are not. Whether our trade is really fallen off for some reason. No, the war reparations. That's destroying our economy. Okay, that makes sense. We've got 10 years of that too. I have to say, I don't think those treaties were worth it. But we did save the Iroquois at the very least. Horseman bottled it so bad? Oh, you're talking about football? That's a development map mode. Pretty even, for the most part. Eastern Europe very undeveloped, as usual. Philippopolis has almost 60 dev. God damn. Yeah, we're kind of fucked on money with all those loans too. I kind of need to mothball the army in the forts, but that's so dangerous. Oh, did what the burgers want San Antonio. We're not conquering Oldenburg. We're not converting Tunis, so we have to get trade power in Texas. That's what the burgers want, apparently. All that cheap cattle, probably. I'm sure there would be lots of Spanish ranching going on there right now. Because, I mean, that got established very quickly. Historically. God, I wish EU4 had a economic system. It'd make this all so much more interesting. There's some inflation. $7 years until we start to get back the war reparations. No, we're just kind of stuck financially right now. Oh wow, you did take a lot, my god. Yeah, so out of the RP stuff, like Chris is RPing the pirates. He got fucked at the beginning and couldn't do anything. So next session, he's also going to be here, and that's when we're going to do all the pirate stuff, because he just got very strong in the Caribbean. Independent pirate Cuba now owns almost everything except for, like, Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And we're getting hit by the pirates again. Immediately. I think it's safe to say that they broke their agreement. Chris, you want to stop here so we have a bit of time before the game? If you're still here, not AFK. I think Chris is AFK. Football unbearable to watch. Oh, that's fair. How many did they lose by? We'll go with financial opportunities. At least we're getting the treasure fleets. That's like our sole form of income at this point. Session end at the end of the year. Yeah, at the end of 37, I think we'll stop. And then I'm going to go grab something to eat real quick, and then we're going to do the TK3 game. Abyssinia is doing very well. 180,000 troops, but they are bordered by Byzantium and Lithuania. Byzantium has... No, that's Hungary. Who are Byzantium's allies? Yorubaland, Somalia. Byzantium allied the two Central African countries. That's crazy. They're going to probably all partition the Fatmids together. Are we going to see a Byzantine Egypt this game? That might be possible here. I'm not going to lie. Interesting. So paying off our loans. Anything else I need to do before we end here? Embroidery demand for embroidery has gone down. Do we have a free policy, or are these no cost? We do have a free one. We'll go for trade efficiency. That's huge. And then we have free admin policies too, which we can get when we're done with economic. Man, we're gonna get the Transportation Act, which is really gonna make our early industrial economy strong, and then more trade efficiency too. And we get the discipline one. Oh man. When we're done with economy, we're going to be in very good shape, aren't we? Well, folks, the comeback is continuing. Knock on wood. We are ending today actually not in a horrible position. I know Costello's going to declare like in 2 minutes because I said that, but it does appear, for now, as though we are in an alright position. We have new allies in the new world. We have pirates who are not friends, but they are certainly harassing Castalla. And we have managed to make ourselves very defensive and build up a strong navy back in the Mediterranean. We have the beginnings of a stable country again. For now. We can build on this. Be in very good shape. Alright, let's go send our last merchant to transfer trade from the Caribbean. He's probably going to get murdered by those pirates, but we'll at least give it a shot. Our loans could be much worse. Cardinal Minister, no, we are not going to support anyone from the church anymore. Yeah, next week. Oh, I am at that point again. I just don't want to stop with the grand campaigns. What I will say is we're going to do one more session with Chris, so it's going to be the big pirate session next week, where we're going to do a lot of stuff with the pirates. And then I'm going to be switching the streaming times for the grand campaign into the later slot. So it'll be probably Sundays from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And I may go really late with that. So for the Europeans, I do apologize. There are, of course, the VODs. But I do want to play it out. And I may go past 4 hours in the evenings if I really feel like it. Because I want to get through EU4. I'm also having a good time with it. We will end here, I think. Grab the save. All right, I'm going to stop the stream. I will be back in around half an hour with CK3 Roleplay. We're going to be roleplaying the count in Switzerland for the Habsburg in 1066 with tours and tournaments. If you'd like to watch that, that will go on for 4 hours and a few, little bit. Tomorrow, I am going to be streaming, let's see, I will have Victoria 3 Roleplay from 2 to 6. And then from 6 to 10, I'll be streaming Millennium Dawn. So just a heads up on that. We will be back next week with more Grand Campaign. It will be this morning slot on Saturdays. And then in 2 weeks, I'll be switching it to the Sunday and moving Millennium Dawn to Saturday afternoon. I know times are kind of shifting around right now. I do kind of know where I want to be time-wise, though, which is I'm going to be streaming probably 2 to 10 on weekends, EST. So just a heads up. Yeah, the Count of Argyll, exactly. But, all right. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be back in a little bit. If not, I will see you soon.